Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this could be the Combat Series episode number 91 for you guys today. And kicking off this week's episode, I'll be discussing the main event that took place last night in the UFC at UFC 313 between Alex Periera and Magomed Ankalaev. So, in the main event of UFC 313, we saw Magomed become the new light heavyweight champion, defeating Alex Periera by unanimous decision in the main event of UFC 313. So I'll be sharing my thoughts on the main event that we saw last night take place in the UFC world. Now, Now there's mixed emotions here. And I get it. The world loves Alex Periera. He is one of the bright spots of UFC. But all unbiasedness aside, if you guys go back and watch the fight, Magomed deserved to win this fight. I scored it. Magomed winning the fight 3-2, and I thought he deserved the victory last night against Alex Periera because he controlled the pace of the fight. He landed more effective punches and outlanded Alex Periera, and even though he was not effective landing the takedowns, was 0 for 11, 0 for 12 with the takedowns against Alex Periera. Credit to him stuffing the takedowns, but Alex Periera was uncomfortable fighting off the back foot majority of the fight. And even in round 2, when Magomed rocked Alex Periera, nearly landed the knockdown, but Alex Periera, with wobbly legs, was able to bring himself back up to his feet. Magomed got the better of Alex Periera throughout the fight. And that's the reason why the judges believe that he won this fight. Now, by unanimous decision, I don't know by unanimous. I would have liked a split decision, but Magomed did enough to defeat Alex Periera last night. And Alex Periera really didn't do much. I mean, yes, you stuffed the takedowns, that's one thing. But if you're getting outlanded and you're not hurting Magomed whatsoever, how is that in favor of Alex Periera? How is it a robbery? How is it that it should be a draw rather than a split decision victory for Magomed rather than a unanimous decision victory? We gotta be unbiased when we're talking about Alex Periera. We know how valuable he is to the UFC. His credibility is not going to take a stop. But if you go back and truly watch that fight in an unbiased opinion, Magomed did enough to defeat Alex Periera last night. And Magomed, to my point, Magomed outlanded Alex Periera by a total of 94 punches to Alex Pereira's 76 punches. He also outlanded Alex in head punches landed, 37 head punches that Magomed landed compared to Alex Pereira's 11. And even though Magomed did not land any takedowns, he had a total of control time of 5 minutes and 42 seconds of controlling Alex Periera. Now, a lot of people might not like it, being in the clinch, hugging and holding Alex Periera on defense. A lot of people don't like it, but it was enough for him to secure the light heavyweight title last night. So, hey, even if you guys don't like Magomed, because I'm not the biggest fan of him either, he did enough to defeat Alex Periera. And even when plan A wasn't working, he went to plan B. And his plan B was telling everybody all week long, or to this build-up for the main event of UFC 313, that he was going to out-punch and outstrike Alex Periera. And he somehow, some way did it. He made Alex Periera fight off his back foot. And if you guys actually watched the segment last week or listened to the segment last week when I broke down this fight prediction, I had Alex Periera winning. But one of the keys to victory that I had for Magomed was to walk down Alex Periera, make Alex Periera fight off the back foot. And he might have success because I said Magomed, when he wins his fights, he is comfortable controlling the pace of the fight, dictating how the fight is going to go with him being the aggressor fighting coming forward. And that's what he did for basically 5 championship rounds against Alex Periera. So you got to give him credit here. When was the last time we ever seen Alex Pereira fight so uncomfortably off the back foot for nearly 5 rounds? I've never seen it. You guys have never seen it. This is something new. And Magomed did it. It was not an easy task last night. But hell, what he did last night was just enough to defeat Alex Periera. Because how can you debate that? If he outlanded Alex Periera, won more rounds than Alex Periera, he dictated the pace of the fight, did more damage to Alex Periera, how can you guys say this was a draw? How can you guys say this was a favor of Alex Periera? He didn't do enough to beat the champion. He did enough to defeat the champion. And if he did get that knockdown in the second round, there would be no discussion that Alex Periera cleanly lost to Magomed. And I stand by that. I think Magomed did enough to defeat Alex Pereira last night in the main event of UFC 313. Now, what could Alex Pereira have done better in this fight? I feel like he didn't make the adjustments needed. I don't know what happened with Alex Pereira, but we got to give the credit to Magomed. I think Alex Pereira was on game. He just got beat at his own game, which is in the striking department. But I felt like Alex Pereira, somebody in his corner should have told him, you need to be the aggressor, walk down Magomed in order to make this fight more compelling, more interesting for the judges. You can't bank on a knockout all the time in combat sports, because if you don't, you leave it in the hands of the judges. And whether it's UFC, whether it's boxing, anything in combat sports that could go to a decision, that is a close decision, that is a close fight, your hands are out of it. Your hands are out of it. And that's why you got to do enough to win the fight. And I don't think Alex did enough. I mean, after the second round, I truly thought that Alex Pereira lost all momentum. When Magomed rocked Alex Pereira, had him on wobbly legs, had him on skates, I felt like after that, Magomed took the ball and ran with it with the momentum, and that helped him win the fight. Because even by the fifth round, Alex Pereira was talking to his corner. He looked confused. He didn't know what really to do next. And when he finally landed that signature left hook, the best shot that Alex Pereira has in his arsenal, in his toolbox, it didn't really have much mustard, ketchup, mayonnaise, whatever you like relish-wise. It didn't have enough on it to rock Magomed. So when the left hook doesn't have enough to rock Magomed, you throw your best shot, and it's not enough to rock Magomed. Magomed really didn't. I mean, he took the punch, ate it, and basically wore him down, because Magomed was cruising in the fifth round. He was pacing around. He knew he had the fight in the bag. And with Magomed tiring out Alex Pereira, making him work, fight off the back foot, hugging and clinching, Alex Pereira was gone by the fifth round. There wasn't anything he could do. So Magomed winning this fight, I stand on it. He did enough to defeat the champion, Alex Pereira. And I think Magomed deserves a lot of credit for his victory, defeating a top three, or who was a top three pound-for-pound fighter heading into the main event of UFC 313, that being Alex Pereira. So now we stand at Magomed is the new undisputed light heavyweight champion in the UFC. And Magomed now joins an elite list in the UFC for the longest active unbeaten streaks in the UFC, with the likes of Jon Jones, with the likes of Islam Makhachev. Magomed is now on a 14-fight win streak. He ranks third behind Jon Jones and Islam Makhachev in terms of the longest active win streaks in the UFC today. So Magomed, again, he deserves his flowers, deserves a credit. He's been the number one contender, waiting for a title opportunity for a very long time, cashed in on the opportunity, and is now the new king of the light heavyweight division in the UFC. So what's next for this division? Will there be as I get tongue-tied, immediate rematch? I don't know what this division has to offer now. And what I mean by that is this division at the light heavyweight division could go in a lot of directions, because Dana White did come out and say he is interested in an immediate rematch between Alex Pereira and Magomed. But there's a catch, because what if Dana White has Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall fight this summer, which I think will happen. But what if Dana White has those two respective heavyweights fight this summer, has Alex Pereira sitting at ringside, and then gets into the cage to promote a fight with the winner of that heavyweight fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall? If that intermediate rematch between Periera and Magomed isn't going to happen, I think that's the direction Dana White's going to have, with Alex Pereira moving up to the heavyweight division. Because even though he lost to Magomed, he did prove something last night. He is able to stuff takedowns, which you're going to need that if you move up to the heavyweight division if you're Alex Pereira. Jon Jones is a great grappler. Tom Aspinall is a great grappler. And both of them are great wrestlers. And Alex Pereira stuffed 11, 12 takedowns that Magomed lost in losing effort yesterday. So maybe that could hurt, that could not hurt, but propel his stock to possibly getting a heavyweight fight with one of those respective fighters, the winner of that fight, for a big money fight down the line in the heavyweight division. But if there's no intermediate rematch, I think we deserve to see an intermediate rematch, because a lot of people believe that fight was close, and it was not entertaining, but it was close. And if there's not an intermediate rematch, I believe this light heavyweight division loses flavor and it lacks star power because Alex Pereira was the glue to this cursed 205 division. Because if you guys remember, before Alex Pereira won that title, Yuri Prochazka held the title. He never got to defend it, had to relinquish and vacate the title due to injury. Same with Jamal Hill, won the title but never got to defend the title, had to relinquish the title due to injury. So Alex Pereira saved this 205 division that has not been entertaining for a very long time, in years. So if Alex Pereira does move up to heavyweight and Magomed is going to stay put at 205, he doesn't have the star power, and he's really not that entertaining in the octagon. Let's just call a spade, call what it is about Magomed. But the possible opponents that I could see for Magomed, if the rematch between Alex Pereira doesn't happen, Yan, he could have a rematch with Yan. Please don't do that shit, Dana White, because when Yan and Magomed fought the first time and went to a draw for the vacant light heavyweight title years ago, that fight was very boring. Yuri Prochazka is another name that rings a bell to get a title opportunity if that rematch doesn't happen. Or the winner of Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree, when they fight next month in the UFC, I think those possible names could be in line to fight Magomed next for the light heavyweight title if the immediate rematch between Alex Pereira and Magomed does not happen. But those are my thoughts on Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev in the main event of UFC 313. That is my fight summary for the fight that took place last night.